So like, you don't even have to put him on. Yeah, but you had a week or something to like take it off. You can say that you got it on the tax.
Okay, so you're on, you're live, the mayor's on. And we are streaming to YouTube.
Third chief can come on to the side. There he is, right there. Hey, man. I know that, man. And you know, I was watching you on the Prime the other day. I said, I do. That is good. I said, look, I need to tell him, you know, the best thing, don't call me. That sounds good. Yeah, he does those cameos like on, which one you was on? Fatal Attraction. Yeah, Fatal Attraction. I got one day. Yes, I was not afraid to total disregard for what I'm saying. Listen, we had a miniature heel. What's his move? He had his cameo, that's why I said miniature. But you do a good job, man. I'm a smile when you. I said, look, I know. I said, that's I ain't say that's right. Yes, no, we're live right now. Hey, brother Johnson, how you doing? Y'all right? All right, you guys ready? Sir. All right, well, let's call this meeting to order at 6:06. Eric, can you do a roll call, please, Commission?
Chairman Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Curris,
Make a note that he is present online.
Commissioner George here, Commissioner Watkins.
Yep.
Commissioner Hicks. And got Director Lackey here. And then if others can just state their names for me for the record.
Lieutenant Payne, Fire Department.
Right, what else I got?
Paul Thomas, Police Department.
Sir, thank you.
And also note that the mayor is online.
Okay.
All right, call to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, New Year. And I'm just glad to be back here doing people's business. So we've done the roll call. Can everybody take a moment to peruse your minutes from October 2nd meeting? Everything we've done, if I get a motion, if there are any corrections or deletions. If not, I'll get a motion to accept the meeting minutes. Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor? All right, the minutes are accepted. Can we get a copy CC to the mayor's office and city clerk? Okay, do we have any open remarks from anybody? Other than welcoming everybody back? All right, well, let's get to it. First up is Chief of Police. Chief, your floor.
All right, yeah, everyone, welcome back. Couple things, we're still working on trying to get some funding for our jail. As everyone knows, we're trying to construct that. We've got some blueprints together, we've got plans together. We've had some communication with the county. That looks pretty positive, so we hope to go in that direction. In the meantime, we also got permission from council to put out an RFP for the construction of the jail, so we can at least get some idea of what costs will be. So that will help us move forward. With the ultimate goal of getting everyone into this building and ultimately utilizing the plaza as a mini station as opposed to the headquarters. We had some disciplinary stuff, but I'll let Lackey talk about that later. Other than that, that's pretty much it for what I got right now. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be a lot.
Yes, sir.
He's talking about.
Yeah, we're trying to construct it here.
Oh, here,
Yeah,
oh, I thought you were talking about the offsite.
nope,
No,
nope,
okay.
at this building.
Okay.
But there's a lot of protocol, a lot of protections that gotta go in place, so no one can get from that holding area out of it. So we have to put cells in, obviously, and plan Bs, in case someone gets out of the main area, they can't get out of the secondary.
They get back, you can't get up to population.
So would that be also, Chief, will we have to construct something outside, like yard time or anything, or just?
No, we're a temporary holding facility, so the maximum we would keep someone would be 3 days. And then they would either be released, transported to Wayne County, or, if that DOC has holes or something like that, they would go.
Question, Chief. Fire Department, Lieutenant, how are you today?
Good morning,
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Lieutenant Payne. It's been a while since I've had to come here. Chief's indisposed, so I had no direction on what to talk about. So again, I'll bring up our run totals. For the month of January, I apologize again, and usually I would have it all nice and tight, but I know the chief hands you a nice pie chart and whatnot, but we did 112 calls total in the month of January. 3 of them were building fires or major building fires. We had, what was this, 11 careless cooks, 4 trash fires, 6 MVAs we responded to, to cut people out, rollovers and whatnot. We had to assist EMS 12 times, along with the police, I think, 2 or 3 of that. And then we had 3 mutual aid calls that were in, had traffic help and house fires also. That totals up to 73 other runs, which we classify those as everything from a detailed go-get food to doing hydrants and so on and so forth. We have implemented a program where we used to just do what we called a couple of rounds of hydrants in the fall to make sure that all the hydrants in the city were not frozen or leaking. We've now implemented a program where we're going to do it, not just those rounds, but we're going to do it for the entire winter. So every day we go out to make sure that our hydrants are functioning and not frozen.
So you're checking all the hydrants, or you have a schedule of which ones you're checking, or you're checking all of them city every day?
Not all of them every day, but every day we're going out and checking like a street, a section of the city, however many we knocked out during the day, just to make sure. But we did a couple of rounds prior in the fall to like zero in on what problems we have. The water department's been working pretty good with fixing them whenever we get them. But we do have about 6 or 8 hydrants in the city, which sounds not a lot, but less is a lot, about 6 or 8 hydrants that are frozen. I know the chief has mentioned, I don't know if he's brought it up to you or in city council yet, but he's trying to get a steamer that they put over a hydrant to get it unthawed, because we're not sure if the water department's able to unthaw either. But I don't know the condition of that or the whether or not we're getting that or not. The 3 major building fires we had the abandoned bookstore. I don't remember what it was called before. There's a bookstore there at Pasadena on Woodward, 4-story abandoned. We had lots of homeless people in there, and it's multiple times in the last few years that we've had to go in there and put out a fire. So
There's been lighting fires to keep on.
yes, and sometimes they set what they're sleeping on
Fire.
like they're dragging couches and mattresses and whatnot. They'll set those on fire also. We had a structure fire, a house fire on Stevens, right on the corner of Stevens and John R. Again, another fire that we've had, one that was occupied and it's burned a couple of times since then. It was a ball of flame when we were pulled out of the station, and we were still able to save the occupied house next door, but people still living in. Then we had a garage fire. So that was a abandoned garage fire on West Grand. That's the major incidents we had. Then I guess I could announce the chief is attempting to get us a new plow truck, pickup truck. The one we have is pretty beat up and old. But that's still in the process of going through city council about approving it. Other than that, that's the fire department.
It's supposed to, what?
Usually, if we assist the police, it might be anywhere from kicking in a door because they have a welfare check. Or need to gain access to a building. We have a lot of break-ins, so a lot of times we have to get them access to the roof of whatever business the roofs.
So,
Traffic crashes as well.
Yeah, and the traffic pressure. A lot of those.
so welfare check, you use a ladder to get.
It's not necessarily the welfare check on that, it's by the front door or to get access into the apartment or into the house. But a couple of businesses have been broken into, so the police want to get onto the roof.
Is it occupied?
I'm sorry,
Are they occupied?
I'm assuming businesses, but necessarily.
No, no,
closed or not.
when you assistant police.
Oh, on the houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually they are, that's why there's a welfare check, so they think that somebody's inside the house, they're not answering the phone, right, citizens, relatives are calling and saying.
And the
"We have
people,
heard
and
from our-"
people being out?
You know, to be honest with you, we've saved the lives of a lot of elderly people who have fallen. That have been down, you know, somewhere anywhere from 24 hours to 3 days. They're in bad shape, but, you know, thank God we were able to get them out of there. And,
Make a note that we cause minimum damage. when we do it.
well, they do have a different approach. I can assure you of that.
Lieutenant, when it comes to the abandoned buildings where the fires have been, have we secured those buildings out?
We do not, and we do not have like a lot of suburban fire departments or departments period. They have like Valfor as a company. A board up company that they would call that, in the incident, come and secure that. As far as I know, they'll only come if they have a contract or if business or residents as a insurance. So a building such as that on Pasadena, we're not too sure who owns it or, sure that's the records at the city hall account. But no, we don't resecure it. Although in that building itself on Woodward, they do have like the metal roll-up doors. And we had to force into those, so somebody is keeping track. That's the last fire we had. Forced those doors again. So somebody is keeping an eye on the building.
For the ones that aren't secured, are we ticketing the owners or are they just reverted back to the city or the county roads? So that we can hold them accountable to keep the security things.
Unfortunately, that's
Well, so I think I can answer some of that. So, our ordinance department follows back up, and a lot of times they're writing citations. Obviously, we've recently updated our ordinances. So now we have the legal department getting involved as well to try and get to, actual owners, because a lot of these are shielded by LLCs. So it takes a minute to locate them, but ordinance has been following up, issuing citations. And to answer your question about the board up, whenever we have a situation where, it's a public safety hazard, a lot of times the mayor will order DPW to board the ground level, so people can't get in and out. We've had to do that on some of these large buildings. Some are owned by the city, some are.
That's very.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions for Lieutenant? All right, thank you, Lieutenant. Internal Affairs Director.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so I have a quick report, just talk about what's been happening in IA. I previously notified you of several investigations that we had that involved employees, and we were able to get those investigations completed and dispositioned through the disciplinary board. It involved 3 police employees, 6 different incidents and 3 hearings. And I won't get into the outcome of those dispositions, but they have been dispositioned, and the necessary action has been taken.
Have we had any new citizen complaints at all? Did we have what other nations of?
There is an ongoing complaint that we have here in the city that we're working on. It's gonna take multiple departments to get it resolved. Everybody's pretty much aware of what's going on with that, so we're staying diligent with that particular situation. Actually, our citizen complaints have come down. Actually, since the last report, there's only been 2, and both of those were unsubstantiated.
Any questions for the record? Without giving the people's name, can you just give the dispositions on the outcomes?
Okay, sure. So, in one of the cases with, and one of the officers, it involved 2 incidents. He was subsequently given, a 2-day suspension. On another incident, it involved, another officer over 2 events. And he was given a 2-month suspension, essentially is what it works out to be, because it's a working day suspension, but based upon the way that our hours goes. Calendar days, right? So it's a 60 calendar day suspension. And then the last officer was terminated from
With
employment.
pay, without pay.
Which one?
Suspension. So,
Without it.
Well, they do have the option if they have furlough time that they can take it in correct?
Correct. So they have PTO time, right? Paid time off, right? Whether that's vacation, sick or whatever. So they can use that bank towards their, but it's still it's still something that comes from them. Yes.
So are these different than the disciplinary hearings that we're sitting in?
This was a result of a police and fire commission disciplinary hearing. Yes.
We sit in on one of them. The last ones have been in like. And they were all taken care of the same day, pretty much, for the next week. So.
Right. Yeah, because everything kind of happened. So the based upon when they happen, when the investigation gets finished, we try to get them all on the same day. Yeah.
And I guess, it's important that the public knows that we take these complaints, and any actions that involve, use of force, discriminatory practices, or anything along those lines, very serious. And it results in significant discipline of determination. We have 0 tolerance for that stuff. It poses risk to the department, to the city, because there could be financial ramifications for those actions. So that's something we take very serious. Now, on the flip side, to combat a lot of that, we're providing training. And some of these, like the disciplines that involve suspensions for extended period of times, they also have mandatory training, such as de-escalation training. And those are refresher classes because everyone's had that training. These are, refresher classes to get people on board. And the message that we send is either get on board or get out. Simple as that. So, I want people to know. One of the other ways we're combating a lot of this, the problems that we're seeing, especially with maybe customer service issues and things like that. We're sending all of our officers to crisis intervention training. And this training is pretty significant. It's a long training program. Well, it really teaches you how to talk to people who are in crisis. And crisis doesn't necessarily mean that you're a suicidal person, or that you have something where you have some mental challenges and things like that. It means you could really just be having a bad day, and or maybe you're not a fan of the police. So it teaches people, officers in particular, how to speak to people in a respectful manner and really listen to what's going on. Not just brush them off to get to the next run. Really listen to what is it that's going on? Is there a way that we can help? And sometimes help could be as simple as just talking to them. Sometimes help is getting them resources. So we've partnered with an organization called DWIN. You know, you hear about on the news, you know, I think, you know, the former Detroit chief who's working for them, and that program has been great. We're really happy to be partnered with them. They come here, they do trainings, they do mental health things for our officers. Yeah.
Reading the report about social workers, what is the status of that?
So we had a grant for social workers, and we still do. That grant we thought was going to be really easy to implement, and it turns out it was pretty involved. So we had to ask for an extension on the grant, so we didn't lose the money. The money is approximately $500,000. And we were granted the extension, and now that we're partnered with DWIN, they provide social workers. They're also the organization who provides a lot of social workers for the city of Detroit. And they're like, their ride, you know, their rideshare programs and things like that, where they ride with officers or meet up with officers, or sometimes they just take phone calls. The great thing about them, and it may sound like, you know, I'm promoting them, but I'm really happy to be with them because they have a lot of resources that we, quite frankly, didn't know were available. And, you know, that's the biggest challenge. I mean, you know, where does the money come? Where everyone's got an idea how we can help someone, but how do we pay for it? And the old ways of just transporting someone to the hospital, drop them off, you know, that did nothing. Really. You know, sometimes people would beat you back to the city. You know, they ask you a quick question. Okay, you're good. Let them back out. That didn't help them. It didn't provide them medication. It didn't provide them counseling, any long-term treatment. Where these programs, they actually provide long-term treatment, and they're providing it to a lot of our residents in the city already. And you can see, like, the officers are excited. The citizens that we've helped, you see results much different than just sending someone. You know, I'm excited.
Thank you, guys. I mean, you know, that's what this is about, providing resources to the community, which we say.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to commend you, Chief, because I've worked on several things, and I know your heart is for our police department to serve the community, not terrorize it.
Oh, 100%.
We appreciate you and the department for the direction that you're taking. Any other questions for the chief? We lost, I think we have. All right. We can come back to you if you remember it. We already did Lackey. Detective, you have anything?
No, sir, I'm just.
If more report for the chief.
No, Detective Thomas is being modest. He actually does have some things. We've been working on some cold cases, and we're making some progress in that direction. Nothing to put on the news yet, but some positive progress. So we're excited about that.
I was just joking with him. I caught him on Fatal Attraction the other day. His cameo, and I'm like, that's our detective. Who had the hand up down here?
You mentioned cold cases, how about that?
Well, to be honest, we've settled some cases from the early 70s through. We've had some bodies exhumed, bones, remains, and we were able to identify on some people. There's been some organizations that have provided money to us to allow us to exhume these remains, and we've been able to meet with families, you know, out of state, and tell them that, you know, we can identify their victims and give them closure. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the department that people don't really realize, but those are like happy, positive stories. You know, I mean, ultimately the outcome was horrible, but to be able to give some closure and just see their face when you know, someone's been identified, I mean, it's worth it. It really is.
Oh, that's one of the cases the chief just mentioned. And we are talking to the prosecutor at this time about what we think happened. We think did it. And, like the chief said, a lot of loose ends have to be brought together. And that's what we're working on doing, so that we got, proof positive, or that we got the right person, that, our evidence supports what happened.
Any other questions? All right, Madam Mayor, would you like to say anything, ma'am?
Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm just here to observe and listen. Good to see everybody in the new year. I think the only person I've seen so far is Commissioner Johnson this year. So I'm just checking out and seeing what's going on.
Thank you,
That's
ma'am.
it. Mm-hmm.
We go to the public comments. We have Mr. Johnson. Would you like to say anything, Brother Johnson?
Couple of things. In regards to, the distribution building on Hamilton and Grand. When you get on, the dates going towards, the lodge north, I don't know if it would be a fire department or water department, but this has been all summer long. There's a leak. It comes down that hill. Now that it's got cold outside, ice is up. So when you go to make that turn, you almost have to come to a 5 or 10 miles an hour, because it's a big pack of ice. I don't know if that's, something.
We don't have any, to my knowledge, we don't have any hydrants on that. They vacated that property, so it might be a drainage issue.
Okay.
That's something we probably could,
To the DPW, we'll probably have to just sort it. Check it out. If it's vacant, so.
yeah, so when they, you're talking about the big complex that they just built,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so when the city vacated those streets, they pulled up all the hydrants and things like that. Except for the perimeter of the building, is my understanding, right?
But it's something over there it's something over there that's leaking down. It's leaking out, just like the problem they had, maybe a few years back. There was a chemical plant and it was that green fluid that was leaking. It's the same thing, but it's just water. But now that it's got.
You're saying it's just seeping out of.
It's seeping, yeah, it's seeping onto the.
Yeah, I mean,
onto the
it could be a drainage issue
edges,
from,
right.
from that building. I know they have some retention ponds there, so they really shouldn't be any drainage, leaking down on the freeway, but some people can mention it, maybe they can trace it. Or even, that may be a county issue. Because
it's down. That's why I said, I don't know. Who's responsible.
Start with DPW.
They just have, to make somebody clear. It's something bad. It's gonna happen.
Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Oh, I probably don't wait for it, so, I think it's a little late with it being dark right now, but tomorrow I myself will go on to the property to make sure that it's not a hydrant issue. Whether or not they relocated any hydrants or they have any water issues that all from the fire department. And then I'll contact DPW to let them know that it's not our issue.
Also, I think the last time we met, police department, was mentioning, they had funding for training for, the officers, how to deal with, the mental health, issue that they have with a lot of, just trying to see, how that was.
yeah, so that's some of what I was speaking
Because
about.
before, I remember they were saying we only had one officer trained at that particular time.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm happy to say that probably 40% of our certified officers are trained. Crisis intervention training, our goal is ultimately to have everyone trained for the next couple months. But that's the training that I was talking about, that I'm excited about, because I've actually seen officers excited about something. A lot of times we send them to training, it's like, we're training. This is something that they're really buying into. And, I think the instructors make it a positive thing. And so a lot of people are buying it.
The other thing I'm, Johnson touched on was the vacant, build a Dixon's, Bible bookstore. I mean, they tear the front, they cover it, they tear it off, but who's ultimately responsible as far as trying to contact the owner? Because the same thing, it's just a fire hasn't happened, it's right across the street from the fire, it's a Highland appliance. You can go in there and you find it. My partner, he has a building right there on Ford, right behind it. His lock, we went in there, they in there, find a way off the alley side to get in there, in those structures. And, unfortunately, they live in there and then, burning things to keep warm.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, we work hard with DPW before we get board up, we go through the buildings. Remove everybody, then we board them up. And then sometimes we go back in. Ordinance, they're being pretty diligent about trying to track down the owners of these buildings. But like I said, for years, a lot of this went on and these companies are shielded by it, LLCs, and they're not really, it's not individually owned. So the best way we can combat it is what the mayor and council are doing now by trying to sell any buildings that are city owned. That we force new buyers to rent it, either demolition and rebuild or simply demolition. Those are some of the ways we combat it. But, right now we're fighting a tough battle, keeping people out, especially in the freezing cold weather. Places to go. DPW is doing the best they can. They're trying to help. But people are, they're crap, to find ways in.
Last thing, something that is just, my nerve. It's residents just parking. I mean, I got on my street every time I go down to John, they parked all up on the side of the street on the walk. They just make a park. They park all up in their front yards. There's no driveway there. They have a garage or alley entrance, but they just choose to just park wherever. There's no consequence. Nobody, they're not getting tickets when they just doing it. And now it's a thing where it's widespread.
Yeah, so I
sees it done and then they just.
I can tell you there are actual citations pending in the court system right now for residents who have parked on the sidewalk on John. Or parked in their yards. Ordinance has been doing a good job of tracking that same. So you may see it, but eventually someone's gonna pay for it.
And you can always call the front desk and stuff.
Yeah,
If you see that, you go let them know what's going on.
Center between,
For the John out between Massachusetts and California. John R between Vista and Fair Park.
Yeah.
John R between Fair Park and McClellan.
I think the school was out at Barbara.
Yeah, but right across the street, they
On the other side.
just drive up on the grass, and it's nothing there but grass, and they're beautiful for years, now they just drive up on the grass.
Commissioner, can I speak on that?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
I have had calls about it, and I send the police right over there. Matter of fact, I know one is James McMahon Jr. He went straight over on McLean. They were parked on the street on the sidewalk. He ticketed them, told them they had to move. They did move. Unfortunately, they do come back and park. We have a situation on Buena Vista, what we know about, which is now headed to court. Hopefully. And so some of these things have to end up in the court, and the court decide on what they're going to do with them. So if they've been ticketed, once they've been ticketed, or if there's an ordinance that say they cannot be there, unfortunately, all of the signs are missing that have always used to be there, and we're ordering those signs. We have ordered signs. DPW was going through each thoroughway. They just completed Second. So now we have to order all the signs that go down Third, all the way to 6 Mile, John R., and brush. So each one, those signs have to be ordered and come in, and they're very costly. So once we get some in, we try to get some more. So you'll start seeing the signs go up. Matter of fact, they just put sign up on Oakland right there across from what is that? Dialogue Direct. Because they're parking there at about 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, blocking off Gerald, where people are trying to get into their area. So trust me, we eye it, we see it, and we send the police out to ticket them or make them move, and they do, and then they come right back when they think ain't nobody paying attention. So if you call immediately when you see it, you can call the police, or you can call, someone and let us know. They can come out there and tell them, get them off those sidewalks, off of the grass. So please let us know immediately when you're driving down John R. Say, hey, somebody's up on the curve. And then the police can come out and have them move or ticket them if they refuse. Okay. That's all I got.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, do we have anything else for the commission?
Yeah, I would like to thank Johnson for showing up. He's the only guy participating in person
Every month.
all the time.
So
So
we appreciate it.
it's a pleasure to see you. It's disappointing more people aren't involved.
Thank you. I was smiling. I thought you were talking about me for a minute.
Like I gotta be here.
All right, was having nothing else, can we get a motion to adjourn? Can I get a second?